Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I am your host, the crazy short hairy dude, coming to you from outside tonight, enjoying the cooler weather. Um, yeah, nice evening. Anyway, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 12th day of the Battle of the Alamo. And so, not a whole lot happened. I mean, same old, same old. Uh, the Mexican army was trying to increase um, well, their stranglehold on the Alamo itself, and they were preparing for their final attack. Um, Now, Texans, the Alamo defenders, I think they knew the end was coming. So Colonel Travis, according to tradition, he gathered all the defenders out in the courtyard, and then he drew a line in the sand with his sword, and basically he gave this speech, about how uh, giving them the truth about what their situation was, and he told them anybody who wishes to stay and fight, cross over the line with me. Otherwise, you are free to go. Um, and everybody except one person, according to the story, crossed over that line and decided to stay there at the Alamo, uh, including Jim Bowie, who, oddly enough, was not the man who didn't cross over the line. That he had been in bed, you know, for pretty much this whole time. He was extremely ill. He was dying, and he knew it. But he wanted to cross over that line and stay. So a couple of his buddies picked up his bed, carried him out there to hear Travis's speech, and then picked him up again, picked up the whole bed, carried him over that line. So they all decided to stay and fight, except for one guy, which we don't know a whole lot about that guy. I've heard some stories say that he had fought in the Napoleonic Wars, and so he had enough of that and decided to leave. Uh, but who knows? Um, yeah, so that's kind of what happened at the Alamo itself. Um, Also, to note, I like I said before in previous videos, the Mexican army had a little band with them, just a couple of trumpeters and probably a drummer, buglers and a drummer. And every night they would play this song called the Degüello, which means slit throat or cutthroat song. Uh, and they would play that, and then they'd start bombarding the Alamo with cannon fire. That gone on every single night. Well, on this last night, they didn't fire the cannons. Not at all. Which I think was a tactical move on their part to uh, allow the Texans to actually get some sleep because they were very, very exhausted. And by causing them to be exhausted and then giving them a night of rest, the Texans were less likely they were more likely to fall asleep and be in a deep sleep and less likely to hear the troops moving around and sneaking up on the walls. Um, that's my guess. There is a pretty cool scene from the 2004 Alamo film, uh, which starred Dennis Quaid as Sam Houston and Billy Bob Thornton as uh, Davy Crockett. Uh, the scene is really cool. It involves Davy Crockett, who played the fiddle uh, on occasions, and he's sitting with his guys, with his men, around a little campfire, and they start hearing that music play, the Deguello again. And Crockett says to his buddy, "I just figured it out." His buddy's like, "What's that?" "What it's missing." So he grabs his fiddle, uh, goes up on top of the wall, and starts playing in harmony with the music. And at the end, everybody's kind of silent for a moment, getting ready for the cannon fire, but then it doesn't come. And everybody's just kind of looking at Crockett in kind of awe, and he just says, "It's amazing what a little harmony will do." So, yeah, it's a cool little scene. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much all that happened at the Alamo on this day. Now, I did want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more about Jim Bowie, because I hadn't really done that. He was a knife fighter and an adventurer, like I had mentioned. Um, he had married into the Mexican aristocracy there in San Antonio, um, but his wife had previously passed away. Um, yeah, which might be another reason why he wanted to stay there in San Antonio. Um, Now, he became famous because of a certain knife fight, and that knife fight took place on a sandbar um, in the Mississippi River in between Louisiana and Mississippi itself. Um, it started off as a simple duel between these two guys, and Bowie was acting as second to one of them. There was about 17 people there in total. Some are with one side, some are, with the other side. Uh, and the two men who were dueling, they fired a couple shots at each other. Didn't really hit each other for some reason, and they were calling it a day. Well, one of the guys from side A had a beef with one of the other guys from side B, and he kind of said, "Hey, this is a good opportunity for us to finish our business." Well, when they said that, shots were fired, quite literally. One bullet struck Bowie in the hip, and the fight was on. What started as a duel turned into a brawl, and became deadly quite quickly. Um, Now, Bowie didn't have any pistols on him, but he had a sheath knife, and a rather big one. Um, Very similar to this one here, but his was bigger. And this is one I picked up at Academy a long time ago. But same style. This is the Bowie knife. He was famous for carrying something like this. I think it was his cousin or his brother-in-law or something like that who was a blacksmith and designed and made the knife for him. But anyway, he was carrying that, and he got shot a couple more times, and I think stabbed with a sword cane. But he, eventually killed the guy and was one of the people to walk out of there. And the fight became well known across Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, just about anywhere. Um, and so his name was famous, along with the knife. So that's why it's called the Bowie knife. Not to be confused with Bowie, because that's David Bowie, the musician, uh, but the actual pronunciation of the name is Bowie. So, yeah, anyway, that is all the time we have for tonight. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's happy. And until tomorrow, may God bless you. Remember that Jesus loves you. And remember the Alamo. Good night.